All right. Hello, everyone. We're so excited to have you here with us today. My name is Hong Win, and I'm with the Careers and Professional Development team here at WGU. Today's session is a part of our continued effort to bring career insights, industry expertise, and meaningful conversation to our WGU community as students and alumni continue towards their career goals. We have a very popular topic today. We know the job search world has changed quickly, and figuring how to stand out can feel overwhelming. That's why we're so excited to bring Martel in for today's session. Martel is a leading voice in the talent space with over 10 years of experience in recruiting, talent sourcing, and today he's going to share some practical insights on what recruiters and sourcers are really noticing in today's market. He'll be sharing guidance on how candidates can better position themselves, communicate their value, and approach this job search with more strategy and confidence. Martel, thank you so much for being with us today and for taking your time and sharing your insights. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass things over to you.
Awesome. Hello, all. I'm glad to be here today to share some of my insights that I've learned throughout the years. Again, as Hong mentioned, I'm Martel. I'm a technical talent sourcer. In that sense, I work closely with recruiters, things of that nature. I like to kind of preface this like a lot of people don't know the difference between recruiters and sourcers. For my role as a sourcer, what I typically do, I engage the talent insights, the market intelligence, and market mapping. Sourcers typically do the front end work, reaching out to people, getting people engaged, and gauging their interest for a position. And then in some organizations, sources will do the first line of calling, the pre-screening. But in some other organizations, all the sourcer does is like reach out to the candidate, get their interest, and then pass them along to recruiters. Recruiters are more like full cycle people. Once that's passed along to them, they do their interview with you, take their notes, they coordinate with the hiring leader, and they follow you along throughout the process to like the offer process there. Kind of give you like a brief overview of what a sourcer and recruiter do. And like I said, over the years, I've reviewed thousands of resumes and LinkedIn profiles and partnered with hiring teams across various industries. Like I said, my main focus has been technical and IT. Um, but today, I think like it's not about like tricks and like gaming the system. It's about understanding how to communicate your value effectively. Because there are like many talented people out there on the market right now. Like the way I see it is like a lot of people are some very talented, but the amount of positions that people are applying to, like you get like large, like for one position here, I think we got over like 700 applications for that, and a lot of people are just kind of struggling, like how do they stand out? And I don't think it's from a lack of skills. It's just sometimes it's a better way to like present those skills. So today I'll talk to you about like resumes, LinkedIn, networking, and even how AI can be used as a tool to support your job search while remaining authentic. So here's today's agenda. Kind of what I'm going to go through. Going to like the modern hiring landscape, what recruiters actually notice, resumes and strategies that work, building a strong LinkedIn presence, networking and professional communication, using AI the right way, and kind of do some Q&A at the end for you. So, all right, cool. So one of my favorite topics here is the modern hiring landscape. As you know of, I would say after pretty much like COVID changed a lot of things. After COVID, a lot of positions, roles, companies were remote and hybrid, but that also opened up a lot of competition. Like say roles that were traditionally like, hey, you're applying for a job in Georgia, you also live in Georgia, so you're applying for like a role that maybe in Atlanta, making just things of that nature. But instead, now that position has opened up to remote. So now you're also competing against candidate across the U.S., somebody in Denver, somebody from California. Show you how to kind of look at things in that way. So the hiring landscape has changed a lot. I'm trying to think. and the next week I kind of want to get into like the digital impressions, first impressions. Like as a sourcer, when I'm going through like a LinkedIn profile or looking into that, um, what I'm looking for is like um, I wouldn't say this is a hard requirement, but if that person does have like a photo, a professional looking photo, and then once I kind of get into their background and their story, I'm looking for things like that are kind of fleshed out. Um, I would try to figure out how would I put this the best way. Um, a lot of times the resume and the LinkedIn profile kind of just mirror each other. They're just a list of tasks. Me as a sourcer, what I'm looking for, trying to find the right person for the job. I'm looking for somebody who actually kind of describing the actual work that they do and a lot of quantifications. Like if you quantify what you've done at work, like, hey, you were able to recruit 17 people, that's a good statement, but kind of elaborate into that, like how you were able to do this when you go into your LinkedIn profile. Um, Trying to think of a lot of things people also miss uh, on the profiles. It's like, listing out the skills, certification. Um, the the more you fill out your profile, the better. Because a person like me, I'd use like Boolean and X-ray strings. Um, Even using like LinkedIn Recruiter, I'm looking for like certain keywords and phrases. And if your profile is just like a list of just your jobs, I may stop on your profile, but it's not really telling me anything. But there's certain cases I like, if I have a good feeling about this profile, I'll be like, okay, let me check this person out. But I also have to send your resume or your profile to the next person in line, say like my recruiter, and may look at it like they don't see any match for the position. So they'll send it back to it gets sent back to me. It's like and it's you have to be able to build a strong case for your system for why people want to hire you. That's the way I would put it. Um, Nextly, like AI and technology. AI has changed a lot of things as far as like the talent landscape goes as well. I look at it as it's a great tool to use. It can help you push out your applications, things of that nature. But um, I would say one needs to kind of really look at the jobs. I try to figure out like how would I say this? You still need to tailor those resumes, even when you're sending it out. Like you kind of got to look at it like, because like you can send out 100 applications at a time, but if you don't know the type of job that you're submitting for, or what those people are looking for, or like if you're looking at the recruiter's page, like you sometimes can get a lot of keywords and things from that as well. Um, I'm gonna get into this a little bit later on in the presentation. But I think what a lot of people do when they're using AI with the resumes, um, they just ask AI to make them a new resume. They put in their old resume and they say, "Hey, make this better." There's certain prompts that you can use to create a um, I don't want to just say better resume, but there's certain prompts that you can use to make this better for yourself. Um, I think one still need to use their critical thinking abilities um, when doing this. Like AI may hallucinate things that it may gather from your background, like that you were doing. And then they'll put that into the resume. If you don't read over that and then you submit to a position, the recruiter or hiring manager is going to ask you about that, what you put there, and you won't have a great answer for it. So one still needs to be able to use your critical thinking abilities, look over what AI created for you, and still kind of put that in your own words so you still feel authentic. And then as well as like communication. I'm big on like I would say like sparse, not sparse, but strategic follow-ups. Like hey, you follow up with a recruiter or a sourcer. If it's been like say you applied to a position, and then you maybe wait like a week, then follow up with them. You can also reach out to people in your same industry. See, I do like like informational interviews, as they call them. Like, hey, can I borrow 15 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes of your time to kind of figure out the type of role that you're applying for, what people look for typically in this role? Because you can also you can use AI for this, but I think the best source is somebody who is has been working in that position for maybe 5 plus years. They can give you the best insights, or because they actually done the work. Awesome. Then here we're talking about what recruiters and sourcers actually notice. I would say clarity is the one like I spoke about a little bit before. Um, like when you're writing your resume or your LinkedIn profile, just speak more clearly about what you were actually doing in those roles. Like I said, quantify what you were doing. Um, if it's something that significant achievement that you've done, talk about a little bit achieved that, how you achieved that goal, because that's what I'm actually looking for. You can say like, hey, uh, like again, um, your account executive, you got your the president's award or highest salesman or saleswoman, but you kind of elaborate a little bit. It didn't have to be like a uh, uh, put like a thorough paragraph on it, but kind of like, hey, how you were able to achieve this result. Um, because like most first impressions literally happen before an interview. Recruiters are reviewing resumes, LinkedIn profiles, online presence before meeting you guys, you all. And like I said, technology has done nothing but change that landscape. And one thing that hadn't changed is, like I said, is the communication, that factor. And so you kind of have to look at, okay, first clarity. Can um can I go to your profile and immediately understand who you are and what you do? If your resume is like cluttered, maybe uses tiny fonts, has inconsistent formatting, or is buried in like keyword jargon, like a billboard on a highway, you have about maybe, I don't want to say 3 seconds, but you have to communicate your message before somebody drives past. You have to like, it has to be something that makes me want to stick to your on your profile. Um, and then, like I said, I spoke about accomplishments. Uh, Most recruiters or sources don't care that you were responsible for managing social media. Uh, they want to know what happened because you managed social media, by how much, or did you grow followers, launch campaigns that grow revenue. They're looking for impact. I would say I'm looking for more impact than just tasks. Um, Another thing I see is like a lot of people Uh, they keep a really keyword load down the resumes in their LinkedIn, which can be good because I know that's what most people have been taught like to do, like to get past, the ATS. Uh, like remember that ATS is just software. It may be scanning for specific words, but most sources and recruiters are still reviewing your resumes or application when they come through, even if some places have in place like a maybe like a AI talent fit, things of that nature. Like, hey, this person is a fit. I remember one company that I worked for previously had that, but it was still encouraged to look at the person's resume and kind of see, because I've seen some profiles that like the AI would say, not a fit because they didn't have this or that. Then I actually read through their resume, and they actually did mention that they were doing that. So it's not 100% foolproof. So most are still going through those applications and trying to determine the best fit for those positions. Um, I'm trying to think of how the best way to phrase this. Like maybe like if say like if a job description, mission, project management, Salesforce, cross-functional skills, cross-functional leadership, and those words aren't on your resume, um, you may get filtered out. But I don't think it's I don't think it's much a bigger deal as it's been made to be out in the past. Um, Nextly, I would say professionalism. This includes everything from your email address. I like to say, please no partyguy1987 at gmail.com. But, also that may depend on what type of role you're applying for. It may be like a, a casino. They may not care much about that, but try to have like a professional email address. Again, your LinkedIn profile. I would say it's best, to have a photo. I know in some instances, um, some people do not have a photo. That may be because of personal reasons, or like I mentioned to um, some recruiters and hiring managers in the past, this person may have been involved in like maybe a incident. You have DV situations. You have witness protection programs. So that these people, you have to consider that as well when you're kind of like, hey, why did this person have a photo? Because the thing is, they may not, in their mind, sometimes they're thinking, oh, okay, this person may be a fraudulent candidate or a fake, but a lot that sometimes that may not be the case. Um, Remember again, like format your resume. I would say professionalism is in the details, and then lastly, I would say potential. I like to kind of a lot of the hiring managers and I think recruiters read things in black and white. Um, a lot of times when I'm going through a resume or LinkedIn profile, I would say like, hey, if this person's been here like a year, and then the next place they've been here a year, I don't automatically factor them out. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, what's the story here? There's more likely a reason why they were here, or this place 1 year or the next place. So I'm thinking, okay, let me figure out the story. If they meet the criteria that I'm looking for the position, I'm going to reach out to them, especially for early career professionals. A lot of recruiters or sourcers are asking, can this person grow? Are they coachable? Do they show curiosity and initiative? Um, that's why, like internships, volunteer work, side projects, or even relevant coursework matter as they signal potentials. That's how I got into recruiting and sourcing. Um, I started off one of my first jobs was at a resort, and I was a front desk. Hotel front desk agent, but I always wanted to get into recruitment and sourcing. So eventually, I did a couple like internships and one or two virtual internships in HR and recruitment, and so I was able to learn those skills. And then eventually, um, I got my first actual full-time opportunity that was like full cycle recruitment. I learned kind of the gambit there, then did the staffing agency scene for a little while, and then when I started with AM in healthcare, got into sourcing, which is which was what I love to do. I love the front end. And we can go to the next. All right, cool. Like I'll say, like a lot of resume strategies that work. Again, as mentioned before, accomplishments over responsibilities. Quantify your results. Keep formatting simple. Tailor your resume. I would say avoid giant paragraphs, fancy templates, to a degree, or generic descriptions. Um, like I said, first, focus on accomplishment, not responsibilities. Um, for example, like as I previously said, um, here's the difference, and I want to kind of like certain points I'm going to hit over again because I want to kind of drill that in. Um, let's say you're a customer service agent and you say responsible for customer service. That doesn't really tell me much. But if you say, hey, resolve 90% of customer inquiries on first contact, improving satisfaction scores by 18%, there's a difference. I can kind of, okay. And then when I talk to you on the phone or the recruiter talks to you on the phone, they can say like, oh, how did you do this? That's one thing. Also be prepared to answer a question like that. Like, well, how did you, I see that you improved such and such by 95%. How did you do that? And be able to answer that, clearly and precisely, because then they're saying, okay, this person actually knows what they're talking about. Um, Again, like quantify results. Um, in roles that you can do this, I think the best thing is to do is like ask your leadership or your manager. That's what I did. One of my roles as a sourcer, I asked like, hey, um, can you tell me how much money I have saved the organization, by being able to recruit, source top talent for these roles? Because a lot of times people forget like in hiring spaces, like when you're posting jobs, things of that nature. All that also costs money to keep ads up, to repost positions. So companies want to, that's why they bring in like sourcers, generally like, hey, to be able to help find the top talent for these roles quicker, so they're not spending as much money on on advertisement and getting that people in. Because the interviews also cost money. You think software that you use to maybe help find people, ATS's lever, all that costs money. So um, that's what we're doing that for, like help, like hey, bring that cost down. So quantify everything if you can. Numbers jump off the page. Instead of manage a team, say manage a team of 8. Instead of increase sales, say increase sales by 22% in Q3. And if you can't quantify something, ask yourself what's changed because I did this work. So think about, hey, how I was able to elevate this position or this role or the work that you were doing. So it's like remember that, just remember that what changed because I did this work. Um, Nextly, again, keep formatting simple. Um, I know these. I see a lot of fancy Canvas templates, and they look cool. Uh, but I would say certain like ATSs, they don't really come through well. So kind of stick to a clean traditional layout, clear section headers, bullet points, standard fonts like Arial. I think it's pronounced. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Calibri and plenty of white space. Um, Also, tailor your resume. Like I said, AI is great at helping you do this, but again, use your critical thinking skills and kind of still go over that resume, even though AI has helped you with it. Uh, I know that may sound tedious, but you want to rewrite the whole thing. Just tweak your summary, adjust a few bullet points, mirror the language from the job description. Uh, I have to say a tailored resume is like 10 times more effective than a generic one. Um, like giant paragraphs, avoid those. No, no, no one is reading a huge block of text. Use bullet points, keep sentences short. Again, like I said, fancy templates. I mentioned this, but it's worth repeating. Column, text boxes, images, graphics will confuse, like generally confuse the ATS. Um, and it's like, so it's just kind of harder to, part those for those to become, how would I say, parse through correctly. Uh, then thirdly, generic descriptions, phrases like hard worker, team player, detail oriented. Um, there's better ways in terminology for that to come across, because everyone says that. Show it through your accomplishments instead. Now, I'd like to speak to LinkedIn presence. This is like again, one of my favorites because it is critical. LinkedIn isn't just an online resume; it's 24/7 networking. Recruiters and sources are actively searching for candidates on it. I do that every day. I use LinkedIn. Um, I have a varying ways to find people on LinkedIn, like use X-ray screens through Google, Bing searches. Of course, our LinkedIn recruiter itself. Going to the company pages, searching for people. I can find you through comments if necessary. Also, I have strings that I can use to find people through recommendations and see what they said about you that way. So LinkedIn is very highly used by sourcers. Again, I'll touch on this again. First thing is your photo. I do suggest you use one. Profiles with photos get 20 times more views. It doesn't have to be a professional headshot, but it should be clear, like recent and appropriate. Look approachable. Typically, no sunglasses, no group photos, no like crop photos. Where there's somebody else in the picture, but if that's the only thing you have at the moment, it'll work. But typically, try to avoid those. Um, Secondly, your headline. This is the line right under your name. It's like prime real estate. For example, I have mine is sourcer, talent advisor, and I also do uh, filmmaking and screenwriting. So I have that on mine. But don't just put your job title. Use it to showcase your value and include keywords like marketing coordinator. Try marketing coordinator, content strategy, SEO, B2P growth. Uh, Sources and recruiters search LinkedIn using these keywords, and like say if I'm doing a search, like X-ray streams, your profile will be one of the ones that popped up, or some people get creative and put like dog lover, and I have used that in my X-ray streams before as well. And like I was like software engineer, had like forgot what you call that line, but then put like dog lover, and found people that way that I wouldn't have found just doing a normal search. So I kind of get really creative when trying to find the right fit for these companies. Thirdly, your about section. This is a chance to kind of really tell your story in your own voice. Write it in first person. Make it human. Talk about what you're passionate about, what problems you saw, and where you want to go, and end with a call to action. That's why I always say, like, let's connect. I'm always happy to check about if it's a marketing position, marketing strategy, recruiting strategy, sales strategy. Always end with a call to action, because then person like myself say, okay, they said let's connect, let's talk. Then I'll more likely reach out to you because you want to connect about something, so we'll have a conversation. Um, Fourthly, skills, I would say add at least 10 to 15 relevant skills. Uh, Make sure the top three match the type of role you're targeting. Ask colleagues or classmates to endorse you for credibility. Because like there's been profiles like I found that had bear nothing on them, but I do read recommendations sometimes. And then I found a guy for like a director position. Um, and the person who left them a recommendation mentioned some of the skills that we were looking for a role. Then I said, okay, let me add them to the project and reach out to him. Um, Otherwise, I wouldn't know he had those skills because he didn't have nothing filled out in his like job description. Under that, nothing was filled out. But since the person left a recommendation, they mentioned how great it was and listed the skills that were relevant to the jobs I was sourcing for. I reached out to him. And finally, activity. Just I think just having a profile isn't enough. You need to be active. Comment on posts in your industry. I just did that today on one of my our CEO's article. Share articles, write short posts about something you learned. Every 10 minutes, uh, even 10 minutes a week of activity will grammatically increase your visibility and make you appear engaged and knowledgeable. I started writing posts. One of my sourcing friends encouraged me to write posts and articles about what I knew about like X-ray streams and other articles, things of that nature. And once I started doing that, I noticed a significant uptick in people comments and people reaching out to me on LinkedIn about roles and positions. Um, I would say every role that except for my first starting jobs, every role that I've had recently or that I've done as a recruiter, have reached out to me on LinkedIn. That's how I have gotten these positions. But also, like I said, I try to post, I try to engage in um, other people's uh, articles or statements, other people in the sourcing community. I try to like, hey, come like, hey, I think this is a great idea. Because like I said, I found people through posts because I can search that way as well through like X-ray streams, come up with different like ways to find you in that matter as well. As well, it's like there's a lot of things you can do with X-ray streams, news articles. If I need to find you, I'll find you. Yeah, I think we can go to the next.
Frozen. One
Oh,
second
it's all
here.
good.
Sorry about that. Give me 1 second here. Not
You're
sure
good.
why it's not hitting next.
But if not, I can still kind of talk through it. If
Oh, yes. I think that's all I had was the 6 slides. That's probably why. So yeah, if you wanted to just keep
yeah,
going.
I can talk through it. Yeah,
Perfect.
next week was networking and professional communication. Uh, I'll say networking is a great skill to have. Some people are just naturally good at it. I would say like the different type of sources too. Because like you have in recruiters, some people are more, uh, how would I put it, like super extroverted. They like going to those events so where they get to meet people, the job fairs, industry events that take place where you meet, you greet, and shake hands. Some people are just those people naturally. Uh, 70% of jobs, as they say, are never publicly posted. They're filled through referrals, internal promotions, networking. So if you're only applying online, you're missing out on many of those opportunities. Uh, like I said, I mentioned a little bit earlier, informational interviews. One of the best networking tools is the informational interview. This is where you can reach out to someone in your field and not just ask for a job, but ask for 15 to 20 minutes of the time to learn about their career. Most people are happy to help you gain insights and build a relationship. And when a job opens up, you're top of mind. I think this is how I got like one of my first early careers in sourcing. I had to reach out to somebody and talk to them a little bit about the sourcing career, and then occasionally throughout couple months that we'll do like little touch bases of how it's going. And when they had a position open up, they thought of me and they sent that to me. And I was able to apply for it and I got that job. There's a couple of different cold reaches that you can do, and I have ones that I have on my own. If you want to reach out to those for me, I can of course send them to you. For example, one would be like, hey, when reaching out cold on LinkedIn, or even keep it short and specific. Mention something you admire about their work. 'Cause a lot of people like, oh, like if you say, oh, I saw that you sourced this particular role. When I read that, oh, okay, this person actually read through my profile. It's not just a blanket statement. Mention something you admire about their work. Ask a thoughtful question. Don't ask for the job in the first message. Uh, Build the relationship first. It's like that's like a lot of time when I connect with people on LinkedIn or like sales generally, and then the next thing that goes through it is like a message already. I'm like already, it's like, have you read through my profile, see who I am? It's like oh, okay, let me check this out, and then again also follow up. After a networking coffee or a coffee talk, after an interview, after a conference, send a thank you note. It doesn't have to be long. It can just be like, thank you for your time. I really appreciate learning about this specific thing, and look forward to staying in touch. I think this one habit usually sets people. Um, I think it sets them apart from 90% of the candidates out there. I will say that, and I'm going to see if I can send you maybe an updated slide. Maybe oh, give me 1 second. Hope everybody's enjoying it thus far. So
Great comments in the chat already. So yeah, we'll have some time here at the end for some questions. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll make sure to read those out. And like Martel said, LinkedIn is very, very important. So feel free to share your LinkedIn as well, connect with each other. Um, and then we'll wrap up here in a little bit.
one second. Cool. I'll save it to my desktop so it's just easy to find. Okay, that's hard.
Seeing some LinkedIn's being dropped here. That's awesome.
Okay, just sent it to you.
Perfect. I will get that one started here.
I think we'll be on slide 8. So
Okay,
got it.
perfect.
Awesome. Cool. Hey, this is one of my topic I really wanted to get to is using AI the right way. For for brainstorming ideas. I know there's a lot of people like, hey, they don't want to use it, or some people they're really gung ho about it. Yeah, like people seem to be on one side or the other. I really um, value it as a great tool. I'm a big fan of uh, I would say DC and Marvel comics, but one of my favorite characters has always been Tony Stark, Iron Man. So I'm a big technologist. So these things are uh, very innovative for me, and things like that I love to use and see how it can work to make better flows. Maybe in workflows, but you can use it for brainstorming ideas, um, improving bullet points, interview preparation, I would say it can help. You may can ask it like, hey, what are some great questions I can ask the recruiter or hiring leader? But I think interview preparation is best with a people to people contact, somebody who's you may know personally who's already in that role, or somebody that can help guide you. Um, I think that's I think the person is generally better for that. Tailoring keywords. Um, Certain things I would avoid is like copy pasting AI text, fabricating skills or results, robotic or like a generic tone. Um, and kind of break these down a little bit for you. Like I said, use AI to brainstorm. If you're staring at a blank page trying to write a cover, use AI to generate ideas or input your cover letter. Of course, I would remove like, hey, your address, your phone number, and maybe your email. Uh, Take that out and it's like, hey, look at my cover letter and ask it what it would improve. This all comes down to prompting. Again, some people use like you have your zero shot prompting and you have your chain of thought prompting as well. Then you have prompting that's a little bit more robust. For example, you can take like two let's say leaders in the space and say like, hey, blend the say if you're in sales, let's blend using the blended communication style of Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar. Generate me a new cover letter that will appeal to a sales executive. Um, and like I said, you can have it reframe yours, or maybe create your new one. And then once that new one is created, uh, go back, read through it, but still use your own thoughts, and just don't just use a blanket AI cover letter. And that's why I think a lot of people are using like that, or just a AI generated resume without going back through it and using their own thoughts and talking about what they actually did. They just use the resume to and just put it out there. I've used it like for like in like maybe like improving your bullet points. How can I make this more quantifiable? Think of things of that nature. Again, you can use it for prep for job interviews. You maybe post in the job description, you know, what interview questions should I prepare for? But again, uh, I think it's better to ask somebody who's been in that role. Um, for a significant time for things like that. I think it's better for like, hey, you know, as I mentioned earlier, like, hey, what are some top questions I can ask the recruiter or hiring leader that may impress them about this role? Uh, use it to help tailor your resume. Here's my resume and the job description. What keywords should I include? And then once you read through the keywords that it gives you, think about that in the reference point of what you've actually been doing and what would actually make sense for you to put on your resume. Like if it's a word that you never use in your life, why I've done a plethora of sales. Like if you don't use plethora normally, why put that in there? Um, Again, kind of go over the wrong way. Um, I would say do not use copy and paste AI generated text into your resume or cover letter. Most recruiters can spot things that look like overly formal, like Chat GPT tone instantly, and it sounds like everybody else. And we want uh, things to sound like your authentic voice. Uh, and again, do not use AI to fabricate compliments or skills. It would come up in the interview, and you will get caught because they're going to kind of drill down. Um, most hiring leaders are kind of like because they really want to know like how good you are at this because they're thinking about ROI. Companies always think about like return on investment, like and saving money. Um, Here's my general rule for that. AI should be your brainstorming partner or your editor, but you must be the writer. Use your authentic voice, your real experiences, your unique perspectives, and that would get you hired. Because as a like screenwriter myself. It's like I write my own stuff. I may ask AI like, hey, well, give me a point A or point B. Like if I were to use this character in this side or use this character for this, um, what do you think would be the best direction? And I may read over that and I was like, okay, this may make sense. Uh, but I'm again going to write my own script. Uh, of course, I know some of you all, I use EM dashes because I'm, like I said, a screenwriter. I use that a lot, but most people nowadays think EM dashes are s- uh, like the number one signal that you use Chat GPT. So, uh, unfortunately, I try to take them out of the things I do, even though I love using them because, like, as a screenwrter, that's what I was taught to do. And that's I like using them. For me, they're fun, but I would. Uh, if you, I would advise to maybe kind of take some of those out if you do use them heavily in that respect. I'm trying to think of anything else I want to kind of touch upon on AI. I think that was it on that on my AI. Awesome. And my final takeaway this week. I want y'all, if you learn something here, again, you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I can help guide you through that, to a degree. Uh, what you think about your LinkedIn? Update your LinkedIn. Check your resume. Reach out to one person within your the field that you want to procure work in. Try to procure like a coffee chat with them. Like it doesn't have to be long, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Um, I would say that. Okay, update your LinkedIn headline and your about section using the strategies we talked about. Run your resume through trusted resources. And like I said, reach out to that one person for that informational interview. Just one, just to build that muscle. Uh, I was thinking, there was one thing I really do want to mention when I was thinking about AI. I remember what it was. Uh, when you're applying for roles, uh, always remember have a plan on how you apply for roles. I see a lot of people that apply for a lot of roles in maybe a span of a week, or they may apply for like a um, 50 positions in one day, and then the next day they get 30 to 35 rejections, and that just brings down their spirits a whole lot. I call it rejection depression. Like if you know you're somebody who's like maybe will maybe suffer from that, you kind of have to come up with a plan. I used Deal when I was uh actively applying for roles to help me come up with a plan, like how many applications I'm going to submit this week, and then maybe like 10 applications. Because like so constantly getting for me, um, I have come from, like I said, filmmaking background and acting, and so like not to hear back or hear no, 'cause in that industry you get told no 1,000 times. So my mind is just kind of uh, seared to it. It didn't like okay, I'll just move on to okay. I just in my head it's like okay, I didn't get that role, and I move on to the next thing. But a lot of people is um, that mentality is not there. And so if you apply for 50 positions in one day, I understand like hey, you may be need there may be a need for that. Like, hey, I really need to get something. I know like bills, things of that nature are coming up. But like if that's something that you may like suffer from, like I say, I call it rejection, depression. Think of a better way that you can apply um, to jobs and roles so that it's not significantly affecting your mental health. And I think that's all I had. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Martel. We'll go ahead and move over to the Q&A portion. I know there's a lot of great engagement and questions here in the chat. Just a quick reminder, we do ask that the questions are relevant to today's topic, just so that everyone can benefit from the conversation. If you have something more specific, I'm happy to chat with you offline, or you can email us here. So yeah, feel free to drop your questions or raise your hand and we'll pass the mic over to you. But first question I'm seeing here in the chat from Ryan. How much weight do you place on a candidate regularly posting about their daily engineering work or projects on LinkedIn?
Uh, I would say for me personally, I like to see that. That's I was like, oh, okay, this person act. The way I see it is like this person enjoys the type of work that they do. That they post about it like weekly or daily. They love it so much they like to talk about it. So that's somebody was like, okay, let me reach out to this person and see what they're about.
I love that. Thanks for the question, Ryan. Next one here, I think we had maybe two or more questions kind of around this same topic. For those of us over 50 and still having 10 solid years left in the field, what do you suggest? Ageism does exist. I know keeping resumes to two-page max and avoiding dates when possible. Is there anything else that you would suggest?
Mm. Trying to think if it's in like of course, like you said, avoiding dates is good. 2-page resumes. It was something I was thinking of, but it's not coming to the top of my forefront. But I could probably answer that question for you later. So,
Perfect. And then next one also from Jason. Considering AI filtering tools, do you suggest having an AI optimized resume and uploading a formal once you pass the AI filtering? Some require the resume and automate from that and don't allow you to separate it.
um, for me, like I said, like when I'm looking through resumes that come through, even though like I said, the whatever ATS, whatever company may be using, they may have something to say, hey, this person is like the AI says they're a fit for the role. Uh, like 'cause I still go through it because like the AI has missed things before. I've seen it. Where it's like it had missed somebody who had the skills that we were looking for, and then I was able to spot that and move that person to a resume review. But the AI said they weren't a fit, but they were exactly a fit for the role. I would say that use AI and your critical thinking um, skills like to help. You can use AI to help build a better resume, I would say, but don't let it just do all the work for you.
Thanks, Jason, for that question, and thanks, Martel. Next one we have here, if you don't have the experience you want yet, what should be your headline for LinkedIn? And another attendee here said, same question. For example, can I say student at XX university for my headline?
You can. I think 'cause that's a good question. I have a LinkedIn article about that. It's just not coming to like a forefront right now. These are some very good questions, but you can say student at maybe student talking about what you're studying particularly. Um, like say if it's cybersecurity, um, because that's 'cause, that's the base I'm in. That's what I typically source for, cybersecurity roles. Um, a student at cybersecurity or studying like penetration testing. And then if I have like a associate penetration tester role, and I see that in your headlines, I'm going to look at that, and then I'm going to go through the rest of your profile and see what you've been doing. But then I'll probably reach out to you because okay, they or see like hey, if you got your projects that you worked on. Um, Also on your LinkedIn, like that, regarding like what you got like penetration testing, your app testing, mobile app security. If I see things like that, from that, then I'm going like, okay, I'll reach out to this person and have a conversation with them.
Awesome. Thanks, Martel. And are you okay if I share your LinkedIn? Maybe that way folks can follow up with you and ask some of these questions.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So,
Perfect. So I'll go ahead and drop here in the chat the survey link and then also Martel's LinkedIn. Let's see, another question here. Is it worth paying a professional to rewrite my resume? And are these services like Fiverr a worthwhile option?
uh, that depends on like I won't say like to do like a arm and a leg, for them, but Fiverr has some, some good people on there. I believe, I like very early in my career, I did reach out to somebody on Fiverr to help me rewrite my resume, and that I would say that really helped. But now you have uh, your AI tools, and also like say one of my friends, she was like. Um, what is the HR director of like I think maybe Popeyes or something at the time. And I reached out to her and it's like, hey, I sent her my resume. That's early on, very early in my career when I was trying to just starting out trying to get the recruiting sourcing roles. And I asked her like, hey, what would what would you suggest for me on my resume? And she gave me some tips, and I did that well. So if you know other people in your industry, you can also reach out to them and ask them to uh, hey, what would they change or what can you do? I don't want to say like format it for you, but they can definitely give you some tips.
Time. In terms of networking, I do a lot of outreaches to recruiters, but I don't get responses as quickly. Any suggestion on how to overcome this?
Gotcha. See, I'll say yeah. Trying to remember some of those cases early on in my career where I would do the same thing, reach out to recruiters or people in my network. I would say um, always include like a little where they had a little ad note when you're reaching out to somebody. Include also why you're reaching out to them. That's also I say a very significant, um, but I would say a very significant factor into it that would cause those people will reply more. They'll have to accept your connection request or reply back to you. Looking into what that recruiter actually does or what they're, because you just let's say I do mainly cybersecurity positions, um, or so depending on say the company is just plain just cybersecurity. That's it. That's all they do, and you reach out to me, um, and you're in like underwater welding. Like I will look at that. It's like well, I can maybe try to you know reach out to maybe some of my recruiting contacts and see if I can find somebody in that vein. But that's not a space I know very well, so I wouldn't be able to help you as much as you think. I can give you basic tips uh, for just like resume type stuff go. But I would say when you're reaching out to recruiters or sourcers on LinkedIn, kind of look at their profile, look at what they do, include something in your message to them that stood out to you and mention that in your message and I think they're more apt to connect with you or have a conversation with you than if you just like I click accept then you immediately send me a message then I was like okay what is because we're also getting thousands of messages a day as
Hmm.
well so
Yep. Thanks, Martel. Next one here from Vincent. I got a B2B sales background, high volume cold calling, pivoting into cybersecurity with a security plus now. but not much else, and a degree is still in progress. When you see a profile like that, do you read it as a salesperson or as someone trying to go technical? And which framing actually gets me in the door faster at a company like Coalfire, for example?
Mm. I'm just kind of rereading his text here. Great. I guess I would guess kind of have to figure out what he's a B2B background, cold calling, pivoting in cybersecurity. Basically, I guess I would have to look with Coalfire. I would kind of have to look deep into what he was actually doing because with us we do a lot of penetration testing services. So I was like, okay, has this person sold offensive security sales? Or if I'm looking into your B2B sales background, um, have you ever sold like professional services? Because that's one of the big things coming from like a professional service background. Think Deloitte, think Salam, Eden Data, like A-Line, consulting. How I would read your profile and look and see like have you done a lot of client-facing interactions? Um, how you were able to I guess maybe sell because that's not I mainly deal with the tech side of it. I don't do too many account executive roles, but I would look into it that way. Like, okay, is this person client facing? I'll read your profile and your resume. Um, it depends on it's like an what's that they like companies like Coalfire, they like a blend of the sales and a blend of the technical, because they want you to be able to speak to somebody who's also, say, a non-tech person and be able to explain why they would need your services.
Take one more question here for time. If I'm looking at a job description and thinking, yeah, I have great experience and accomplishments that match a dozen of these qualifications, but I don't have room to make quality bullets for all of them, what is the best strategy to take? How can I identify what matters most?
I would say I would look for things that are kind of repeated in the job description. That's the main thing. Look for things that you see there, a pattern of things that are constantly repeated there. Include those. For me, I say no, I don't have more than 3 to 5 bullet points on my jobs at all. It's just I said 3 to 5. That's what you need. If you're able to elaborate and explain what you did at work and quantify that, or you don't need more than 3 to 5. 10 bullet points for each job is like way overloaded. So I would say 3 to 5 bullet points for each. Typically, that's for me. That's what I use. Um, I'm trying to think if I could offer any real quick advice for military personnel, because I did some volunteer work with military professionals. Um, trying to see a little time. I would say think about your skills, and there's some things that can translate your skills very well. Because I know like certain things like you can say your battle rhythm is things like how do you organize your work, um, and a lot of you all have international. Because you went overseas to win hearts and minds of people, so you also have international relationship skills. So that's the thing that translates.
I do want to be respectful of everyone's time, so I'll make sure to follow up and get a response back to you folks there. But we'll go ahead and conclude today's session. Thank you so much for being here and for the great engagement throughout. Martel, thank you so much for your time and your expertise and being willing to jump on and share with the WGU community today. I know a lot of our students and alumni are working through these questions on how to stand out, how to tell their story, how to strengthen their experience and what they've learned. So your advice today gave them a lot of practical strategies that they can take away and apply to their own career journey. So we'll be sending that recording out shortly. We do have that quick survey as well. If you attended today, we'd love to hear back from you. And then, of course, Martel, we want to extend a big WGU thank you. We truly appreciate you supporting our WGU community and sharing your great insights and experience to help our students and alumni feel more prepared, informed, and confident on their career journey. To everyone who
Awesome.
joined us today, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your June and take care. And we hope to see you at an upcoming session. Thank
Gotcha.
you.
And feel free to connect with me, and I'll try to help you in any way that I can. So,
Thank you so much, Martel. You take care.
alrighty.
Bye.